Emperor of Mankind of Warhammer 40,000 is dead and he is alive. What is the very thing that nobody else is addressing about how he is alive and how he is dead? What are the metaphysical aspects of this very interesting state of being and what I can provide in terms of an insight? I'm the 40k Empress, guys, and I do want to think a bit deeper about Warhammer 40k, so let's take a look at what we know about the Emperor, his state on the throne, and what is actually keeping him anchored to his body.
I am Rogaldorn, Primarch of the Imperial Fists. Subscribe to the 40k Empress for more honest Warhammer 40k content, or I will fortify your bathroom.
We have a paradox of a rotting god. The Emperor's flesh is decaying. He's kept alive only through the Golden Throne life support systems. Tubes, pumps, blood bags, and arcane machinery sustain what's left of his physical body. Yet he still acts. Despite this, his psychic power will continue to blaze across the galaxy. He guides the Astronomica, the Imperium psychic lighthouse for warp travel. He annihilates demons, whispers guidance to psychers and saints, and even manifests miracles across the galaxy. This does mean that he is not a corpse in the usual sense. He's simultaneously rotting and active. Let's look at some theories why he still exists. His soul is bound to flesh. In Warhammer metaphysics, a being's soul usually departs the body upon death, but the Emperor's soul is anchored. The Golden Throne acts as a cage, binding his physic essence to his failing flesh. He is both dead and alive. His consciousness continues, but his body rots. This, however, does not explain what this state really means. We're going to get to that. Now let's take a look first at his perpetual nature. The Emperor was a perpetual, a being who cannot die permanently. But Horus' psychic warp-infused strike was catastrophic. It didn't kill him outright. It shattered his body and anchored his spirit in a broken state. So unlike a normal death rebirth cycle of a perpetual, his essence was trapped on the throne. What we can further say about this is that the fact that he does not regenerate could be linked to the Golden Throne's effects, and it could also be due to the wounds themselves, the nature of these wounds. The body of a perpetual should be able to heal from anything, but how Horus really hurt the Emperor with all the might of the warp upon him, I honestly don't think that the Emperor can recover from this. But also, again, it could be the throne that prevents the Emperor from regenerating. So let's take a look at some of the aspects of his existence on the Golden Throne. So the Emperor is considered alive while also being dead. When we talk about the Emperor being alive, some other characters mention that they want to kill him or whatever. In that kind of a way, you think that he's alive, but then we know that his body is rotting. Now, when we take a look at the state of being alive, your soul, or at least something that is within the soul as a separate piece of the soul, is preventing the body from rotting, which means that this energy is what makes the difference between a dead tissue and a living tissue. This energy in real world spiritual science, it's called ethereal. So the ethereal body is this part of the soul that only exists so that the physical body could be living. But once the ethereal body leaves, the physical body starts rotting. Now in Warhammer 40k, there's not much that is taken directly from any theosophical or anthroposophical documents, and it is a lot of fantasy mixed with, again, whatever the authors read from the real world, basically. So it is very hard to speculate what the authors are actually thinking when they write the Emperor on the Golden Throne. How is he exactly connected to his body? But let's for a moment try to explain this with real anthroposophy. I would say then, in this case, that what we read at the beginning, that the Emperor's soul is anchored to the body, does not explain what this anchor means. What is that exactly? Let me break this down a bit more because maybe it's very foreign to some of you guys. So basically, as I said, the ethereal part of the soul, which is directly a copy of the physical body, when that leaves our body, we die. When we apply this to Warhammer 40,000 and to the Emperor of Mankind, it seems like he absolutely did die, but there is still connection to his body, this anchor. This anchor is called the silver string, and the silver string is literally when the soul still maintains connection to the body through this silver string. And in this case, the body could be in state of meditation, the etherical body could be detached from the physical body but still exist, and in the same time the rest of the soul, which is the consciousness of the emperor, his whole personality, which is called the I, and the astral body, which is the body of emotion, desires, wants, needs, all of that. That part of the soul with which the emperor would experience a lot of emotions, he would have perception of different things, intuition, whatever, that stays with the I, with his personality, with his ego. So those two are completely free to run around in the warp, thus enabling the emperor to be free and to exercise his willpower or whatever he needs to do in the warp, being fully himself. Now maybe you can correct me here and say, Empress, but the emperor is supposed to be like in million pieces. That is not a fact. From everything that I've read, the emperor might as well be fully together. It's just that he is living through a lot of turmoil. Now the other piece of information that we do have is that he is living through a lot of pain and suffering by being on the golden throne day in and day out. This could also be explained through the silver string, because when the ethereal body still exists and did not dissipate after that, how it should be in the case of the emperor, but it is detached and that's why the body is rotting, he however should still feel some physical things, like the suffering that the golden throne inflicts on him. He should also feel temperature like cold and hot, so if somebody tries to burn his body, he will actually feel this. This will absolutely, once again guys, explain how he is dead and alive in the same time. Technically, he is dead, but he is not fully dead because just the mere fact that the physical body is connected to the ethereal body and the other two bodies, which is the astral and the I, does mean that he could come back to his original physical body if said body is recovered enough so all of the parts of his soul could return to it and actually function. If the physical body is not restored fully, or at least to enough of an extent to sustain life, the ethereal body would not be able to merge with the physical once again and actually make it alive. The physical body still has to be in a very good state in order for the ethereal body to give it life again. Think of the ethereal body as an energy body. It's also called the energy body actually, because exactly it does that. It gives energy to a dead matter so that dead matter could become a life matter and sustain life on Earth in a physical form. So although the lore of Warhammer 40,000 does not give us the exact explanation of what is this dead and alive state, anchored to the body, I mean using the word anchored, does actually in one word encompasses what is the state of the emperor. So thus if someone breaks the connection with his body and actually completely destroy his physical body, they will also destroy this silver string connection, and the emperor will no longer be able to do anything from the golden throne. He's not going to be able to guide the astronomicon. The physical body is what enables the emperor to be active in the physical world in that manner, and as we know, he needs a lot of energy to sustain this connection. So all of the souls of the psychers that get sacrificed to him each day are absolutely going for the sustaining of this connection through the silver string. Now, if the authors of Warhammer 40k could read some of those books, some of those anthroposophy books, they can actually create a lot more lore that's based on spiritual science, which, guys, maybe that's confusing you, but that's exactly how it's called. I wouldn't advise anyone to read it if you're not prepared, if you're not already knowledgeable with honest and true interest towards an anthroposophy. But in this case, believe it or not, it does help explain a lot because a lot of authors actually read such literature. If they don't, they cannot actually fathom or create their own concepts about metaphysical things. So they do have to have a lot of knowledge. What that knowledge is used to be twisted and turned into the fantastical and the sci-fi is their prerogative. But that doesn't mean that they did not take some part of real information from somewhere. And there are many books that most people are not aware of that they exist. So if we take that as a fact, because again, even if the silver string is not mentioned anywhere, anchored to the body means exactly that. Thus, if we hypothesize that the Emperor's body could be recovered somehow, it could heal, then absolutely he could be brought to life. If we consider the Terminus Decree and the Emperor, which tells us that the Grey Knights should bring the Emperor back to the throne no matter what, then it gets really confusing because we don't really have enough information to connect two and two together, so to speak. It really seems very weird and contradicting, not really well thought out, but I'm going to talk about hopefully about that decree in another video. I'm giving you some food for thought, guys. I hope that you get it. Think about that and let me know what you think in the comments. If you'd like to support me, the links are down below. Now, because I'm the Empress, I have connection to the Emperor of Mankind, as you know, so let's hear from him. What does he have to say?
Amazingness. The 40K Empress teaches fitness, health, nutrition, and helps with your intimate relationships. At OnlyFans. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but she doesn't use it for slanesh things. Go there and let her help you with what you truly need. The link is down below in the description dimension. Go on, click the link. I'd know if you didn't. I see you.
For the imperium must not fail. Imperium we prevail. The warriors march with sacred might. Their purpose burning crystal bright. To lift the throne world from its plight and guard humanity's light.